Hello, BookTube. This is Aaron from Aaron Read a Book or Aaron Read a Book. Um, I'm doing Friday reads, and I'm doing it on a Friday. So, hooray for me! I'll never get time to do them on Fridays, and I am actually really busy with work right now. But I needed a little break, so I'm going to do my Friday reads and then go back to it. Um, the first book I read last week was a book I mentioned in my last update, and it was Agatha Christie's Crooked House. Uh, in the intro to this, Agatha Christie says that it was one of the most fun books for her to write. And I like that she also says some of them are a bit of a drag to write, but this one she said was one of her favourites, and it had been in her head for years, and this family had been in her head for years, and she sort of finally sat down and wrote it. And that comes across in the book entirely. It's really a super fun Christie. No Hercule Poirot or Miss Marple in this one. It's just regular police. And the basic plot is that there's a big, they call it the Crooked House. It's not literally crooked, it's just a bit odd looking. Um, and there's a big family in it, and sort of the patriarch of the family has been killed by injection. Someone had replaced his insulin medicine with eye drop medicine, which was fatal. And the main suspect is his second wife, who's much younger and not particularly liked by the family. And our protagonist is brought into the family by the granddaughter who he's dating, and uh, his father also happens to be the head of Scotland Yard or something. So his father basically tells him to go have a poke around and see if he can see what's happened. Um, Obviously, won't go into who did it, but it's one of those ones that Christie does so well, where you kind of think anyone could have done it. There's motives all around, and and yeah, you have to sort of pick who you think did it. And there's some great little characters in this as well. I especially like the the children and things. So very well done, very entertaining Christie. Definitely my top five Christies that I've read. Although I've not read that many, so that's not a great recommendation, but it is up there for me. Definitely one of my favourites. Then for some reason I was still on crime, and I started and I read The Talented Mr. Ripley by Patricia Highsmith. So I picked this up in, I think it's the only, I bought two books brand new this year, and this was one of them. Oh no, tell a lie, I've just bought a third one, which I will show you in a minute. But I forgot to get down. This one, I'd never read Patricia Highsmith before, but I saw people like Criminally reading and enjoying her works, and it gives me very Hitchcock vibes or Columbo vibes, because you know you know you follow Ripley and he's the criminal, so you know uh, what he's done, but the joy of the book is the anxiety of him trying to get away with it. Um, and it's really well done. And I can see why Hitchcock. She wrote Strangers on a Train as well. I can see why Hitchcock liked her. So Ripley's sort of a 23, 24 year old guy, and he's sort of, as you join him in the book, he's already been up to no good. He's sort of trying these cons with insurance and things, and sort of living in a friend's house and things, and no real prospects or job. And he is approached by the father of a man that he hung out with a little bit, but wasn't even really friends with. And this father knows Ripley, knows his son, and he knows that he's not one of his like best friends or anything, but he thinks Ripley might be able to convince him to come back to America because he's disappeared off to Italy, and he wants his son to sort of join the family business of building boats and things, and come back to America. And his mother's sick as well, so he wants his come back for his mother as well. And he just happens upon Ripley in a bar and recognizes him. Well, actually, I think he goes there on purpose. I can't really remember, but he sends Ripley, which is a big mistake because Ripley is a psychopath, and it's really fun following Ripley. The first half I thought was quite a bit of a slow build up. If it wasn't so slow in the first half, this would have been 5 stars for me. But I gave it 4 stars. The second half of the book is just brilliant, brilliantly done. Uh, and if you have any sort of anxiety issues, this tweaks them. This really, uh, I could not live the life of Ripley. There's a whole series of these, so I might go on to the next one at some point. But I really enjoyed it. My first Highsmith, very good. And if you're a fan of Highsmith, please give me recommendations for other Patricia Highsmith books that you like in the comments. I'll go to my haul next, which is going to require me moving about a bit. I actually hauled 2 books, but I don't think I can show one, and I'll explain why in a minute. This is the only thing I hauled. This was the third book I bought brand new, and I was just buying some stuff on Amazon for Black Friday, and this was on offer for a fiver. Tomorrow. I've heard mixed things about this. Some people really love it. Some people don't like the characters. It sounds sort of up my alley because it's got lots of 90s references in it, and it's about game designers, and I like sort of indie games and things like that. So I think I will like it. I saw Gareth from Book Songs and Other Magic. He did a review of it and he really liked it, which is why was in my head. So I'll give it a go at some point, maybe in December. The other book I hauled was I've been I got a Kindle Unlimited subscription a while ago, and I got The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by Shearer. And then I saw Joe Spivey do it, and I read a little bit of it, but then my Kindle Unlimited ran out. And I saw Joe Spivey doing his sort of walkthrough of it, and it's just really made me want to pick it up. So I've been looking in secondhand bookshops for years for it, and I have not found it. So I just thought I'd buy it off eBay. And I know it's a big 1,000 page plus book. So when the package arrived, it was really thin and quite tall. I was like, this can't be the right book. And I've never had any issues with eBay before. Those big booksellers, you don't always get the edition that's pictured, but you usually get the book. But this was it was The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich, but it was like an illustrated, abridged version, and so it was very short, and it's basically just a Nazi picture book. So I'm not going to show that on camera because I'm probably not going to read it, and it's weird having loads of Nazi pictures all over the place. The other thing I have been reading though, and I've nearly finished, last sort of 80 odd pages, is Elizabeth Jane Howard's All Change, and this is the fifth and final book in the Cazalet Chronicles, or the Cazalet Saga. Is it Chronicles? Yeah, Chronicles. The fifth and final book. I've been reading this series all year, and well, I read the first four almost back to back, and I love them so much that I've been putting this one off a bit because I don't want to finish it. But this one was written like 18 years after the others, and Howard was quite, I think she was maybe in her 90s by this point, but it has lost none of the charm and beautiful writing of the first four. It's definitely going to be one of my favourite series of all time, and I will definitely be reading it many, many times in my life, hopefully. This is a family saga set originally between World War One and World War Two, but by this point we're well after World War One. We're in the mid-50s now, so you follow what starts out as three generations of a family, and by this point, the children of the first novel have children of their own. So the family tree at the beginning of this book is massive, and at this point, I'm starting to lose track of whose children are who slightly, but it doesn't matter because really the core characters you follow all the way through are the children of the first novel, and she's brilliant at writing children. And then by the time we get to this novel, they are in their 30s and they have children and jobs and problems and husbands and wives, um, and their characters are still brilliantly done, and you can still see what they were as children are is fully realised as an adult. So brilliant books. I won't talk too much about it because I haven't finished it yet, but I love it, and yeah, highly, highly, highly recommend The Cassette Chronicles by Elizabeth Jane Howard. And if you like audiobooks, there's a really long Radio 4 dramatisation of them with all different characters doing all different actors doing all the voices and such. So that's meant to be very good too. So that's my Friday reads. If you have read any of these books, let me know. And especially Patricia Highsmith. And let me know what you're reading this weekend. Have a good one, BookTube.